Disruption is hard. We've just been through a time of more disruption in education than probably any of us have seen in our careers. And yet, one of the things that we can learn from historical views on moments of great disruption is that after the time of disruption, there tends to be a bloom in innovation. There tends to be an acceleration of new ideas and new practices. And that's something that we're starting to see in education now as well. It's been fantastic to see the shift in roles of learning that have come out of this pandemic, this blurring of the lines between teaching and learning. Now we're in a space where we can all be learners, and students using technology in appropriate ways can create content and learning materials just as teachers can. And teachers can recognize that they are learners and model good learning for students in the same way. One of the least interesting things that we can do with technology is use it to push content to kids. One of the most interesting things we can do is teach kids that technology is a tool set that they can use to design their own solutions and come up with their own answers. That's an exciting shift that we've seen as we're becoming more familiar with new ways to use technology post-COVID. As a parent myself, I had felt very detached from my school as my kids were going through in pre-COVID learning, right? I didn't know what happened. I got very little information. Occasionally in a parent-teacher conference, I might get some more. During the 18 months that we were doing online learning, we were all in the same space together, right? We were literally looking into each other's houses. And so even though that was a clunky experience in some ways, it blurred the lines between home and school. One of the biggest challenges that we face in education is not lack of funding, it's not lack of resources, it's actually fighting against the status quo. In education, it can be very hard to change and to do things differently. And we've had this moment, it may not be because of how we wanted it to happen, but COVID has brought us a time that has pushed all of us out of our comfort zone. It's pushed all of us to try new things. And many teachers have used technology for the first time really in their careers, or certainly to the level that we have used it in the last 18 months. Going back to a familiar spot, it's good. It's nice to be back in familiar learning spaces, but it's critical that we don't conflate familiar and comfortable with effective and equitable. We need to take the lessons learned from this disruptive time of teaching during COVID and bring them back with us so that we can create better, more effective learning experiences for everybody, even when we're back in the classroom again. We may look back in 5 to 10 years and think that this COVID experience that we've had, as exhausting and difficult as it's been, is the best thing to happen to learning.